Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Muller here. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. We have a winter storm we're going to be talking about as we head on into Saturday and Sunday for the weekend here. We're going to get into exact snowfall totals, what we could be looking at here. There's a couple pieces of energy feeding into this storm. How much of this storm goes coastal? Will coastal areas actually see heavy snow, or is this going to be an inland type event? And we do have another storm forming just behind it. We'll get into all the details and see your stormy pattern. Let's get into it. All right, so I wanted to show you what we're going to be looking at, just a precursor. I'm going to get into these snowfall totals a little bit more in depth later in the video. This just takes us through the weekend into Monday morning. Look at this. The purple areas, 6 to 12 inches of snow. In these darker maroon areas, 12 to potentially 18 inches of snow. You can see it's going to be really close here in coastal areas. Let's take a look at the GFS. And here we are. Take a look at this. So, yeah, it's a little bit further to the east, a little bit closer to the coast. We're just taking through Monday morning here. You can see in the purple zones, this is where I think the best chance of the 6, 10, maybe 11, 12 inches of snow. Look at this. Curiously, the GFS putting a lot of snow into Boston. Let's take a look and see which model is likely to occur. So for the European model, this is the model we're going to start off with, and we'll transition over to the GFS and touch on a few others here as well. Let's take a look. So this piece of energy coming from the Four Corners region, this is where we're going to start to see these showers and thunderstorm action along the Gulf Coast here as we head on into, this is 1 p.m. Friday. So you have this big area of this cold high pressure that's built into the east. That's going to supply us with that cold air. Now watch what starts to happen as we head towards 7 p.m. and this is 1 a.m. on Saturday morning here. So we got a low pressure. Wouldn't be surprised if we get some strong to severe thunderstorms here. Got to watch out for this. The following system early next week will definitely have a lot more severe weather. But the thing that's really concerning here is watch how quickly the system does move. So we're going to start to see some, precipitation getting into the area. This is by 7 a.m. on Saturday. So this is moving into some very cold air. And as we continue to put this into motion, you can see this system starts to take more of a coastal tilt to it. Now, it's questionable whether this energy that's up here in the eastern Great Lakes actually catches up and phases with this system. Nevertheless, we got some dynamics involved here that's actually going to create this system and start to intensify it. This is 7 p.m. on Saturday evening. So you can already start to see the snow is moving well out ahead of it. Let me just back this up just a few frames because I want to show you parts of the Appalachians here too are going to get some snow. This is 1 p.m. Here we go. So this is 7 a.m. Saturday. Some of these higher elevations, especially in western North Carolina, western Virginia, West Virginia, eastern Tennessee, these areas up towards Maryland, and then eventually Pennsylvania here as we head into 10 p.m. Saturday. This is basically the biggest part where we start to intensify the snowfall here. Now, coastal areas, this is going to be questionable. We'll go over those snowfall totals again momentarily and dive a little bit deeper into this, but it's all going to be based on the exact track of this low pressure system. We do know inland, though, this is where you're going to rack up some hefty snowfall totals here, likely, especially the Poconos, Catskills, Hudson Valley region, parts of the Susquehanna region as well. Definitely going to see some heavy snow as this continues. Now, look at this. Low pressure really starts to intensify. 994 millibars. This is 10 a.m. Sunday. We're still seeing snow. Look at this. All the way back into New York, Pennsylvania, and possibly changing to snow here in New Jersey. Heavy snow continuing here into New England. And look at this. We actually, with this trough that's kicking into the west that hasn't caught up just yet, we got some snow showers in the Ohio Valley. In Ohio, that's where you're going to see, generally 1 to 2 inches with this next disturbance here. So let's just put this into motion. We can actually see what's going on, how these two are going to actually interact with each other. It just seems like the storm, even though it's outpacing this trough of low pressure, we're still going to see this intensify. 988 millibars. Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, you stand the chance of seeing something out of this as well. Look how fast it starts to accelerate, though. So let's just back this up. This is 1 p.m. Sunday. Actually, this is, 1 p.m. Sunday, the 7th. And then we get to 7 p.m. This really starts to book it out to sea here. You can see this is Monday morning. This is way out to sea. And I'm going to touch on this storm momentarily. So here's the GFS. We're getting into precipitation depiction here. Look at this. So we're just starting off with a big piece of energy out here in the Four Corners region. This is what's going to start all of our trouble here across the east. We also have a massive area of high pressure building across the eastern part of the country. So let me just back that up just slightly. You can see how fast this moves through Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas. Will have some heavier bursts of snow, but it's important to get in touch with what kind of energy we're dealing with here. You can see showers and thunderstorms here across the Mississippi Valley, the Gulf Coast region, as we head through your Friday evening. So if you have any Friday evening plans here at 7 p.m., look at that. It's not looking very good here across the central Gulf Coast regions up to the Mississippi Valley. Now, we do start to see some spotty snow showers here into parts of the Ohio Valley. You can see, look, I know a lot of people from Ohio had some big questions on snow all the way down here into the Appalachians. It looks like the higher elevations are definitely going to pick up some snowfall here. This is 7 a.m. on Saturday. Cleveland, Columbus, these areas, Pittsburgh, I think you could pick up an inch or two here, but this is nothing to write home about here. Let me just continue this as we get towards 10 a.m. So you can see where the heaviest bands of snow are going to be setting up here. Right through the Appalachians, eastern West Virginia, Maryland, northwest of Baltimore here, Harrisburg. This is where those intense snow bands are going to start setting up here. So let me just zoom out here. You can get a good vantage point of this area of low pressure here across the Carolinas. Now watch what happens here as we continue to go in time. The low pressure does start to strengthen. This is towards 1 a.m. on Sunday morning. And there is that piece of energy here over the Ohio Valley. It's hanging back a little bit. I still think there possibly could be a chance of this catching up. If it does, this would strengthen our coastal low a little stronger. But it looks like right now the GFS really holding back until about 7 a.m. Here it is on Sunday morning. You start to see that still 1,000 millibars, but look at the rain snow line here. It's somewhere just inland here. So if you're coastal people here, I know you want to see some snow. It's going to be tough getting it in initially here. Now look what's starting to happen here in the Ohio Valley. We start to see the connection here between our trough, our shortwave trough, lagging behind in the eastern Great Lakes, and our coastal low. This coastal low becoming a little more elongated by Sunday morning, still filling in with heavy snow here across central and southern New England here. Coastal areas just seeing the rain for this portion of the storm. It does start to accelerate here. Let me see if I can slow this down. So this is 4 a.m. Sunday. So let me just continue this. Yeah, so we do start to see 10 a.m. Sunday morning, some intensification. You can see these white areas. That's where you'll see 1 to 2 inches per hour during this time frame. Still, the I-81 corridor of New York and Pennsylvania, we're still socked in with snow here, if I can say that correctly. And back here into Ohio, parts of Cleveland, we do have some lake-enhanced snow, or I think you'll pick up possibly an inch or two here. And look at this. I have to go slow because this really starts to put the gas pedal on here. Watch this. So let me see if I can get this going. Yeah, it's going to be a fast mover once it gets past Cape Cod there. There it is, 4 p.m. Sunday. Look at the snow's already, the back edge of the heaviest snow is already in eastern New England, Boston, Cape Cod, getting possibly 1, 2, maybe 3 inches an hour here. Southern Nova Scotia and New Brunswick may get clipped by this. And then we got some snow showers back in through parts of the Ohio Valley and the Appalachians here. And then we start to kick this out. And there is our next storm. All right, so let's analyze these snowfall totals a little bit more in detail here. Just taking through Monday morning. Yeah, the Susquehanna River Valley of New York and Pennsylvania, the Hudson River Valley, the first phase of this storm, all the way down into the Appalachians. I think you stand the chance of a good, solid 6 to 10, 7 to 11 inches of snow here. Now, look at these maroon areas. This is where you're going to see the Poconos, the Catskills, parts of the lower Hudson Valley, I think could pick up 10 to 16 here, especially into the maroon zones here, into southern New England here as well. On the backside of the storm, particularly Sunday, I think you could eke out some really intense snow bands out of this from just west of Boston, southwestward here towards Connecticut. So definitely something to keep an eye on here, the trends. I do note there is going to be light snow around the periphery of this, but, you know, the snow totals will cut down significantly the further north and west you go. Now, down here into the Appalachians, these higher terrain areas from Harrisburg southward, or southwest to Harrisburg, I should say. Harrisburg, you will get into potentially advisory warning criteria as well. So here we go with the GFS. Yeah, look what's going on here. So, yeah, it's a little bit further to the east. We'll take it through Monday. There we go. So, especially from I-81 eastward in New York and Pennsylvania. That's where the warning criteria is showing up here on the GFS. The Poconos and Catskills getting upwards of 8 to 12 inches. Look what happens here, though. The GFS really taking this system and blowing it up here over eastern Massachusetts, where we could see upwards of 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 inches of snow here. It's curious, too. Northern New Jersey also getting clipped, but look at this. This is a big gradient as well. The same kind of gradient as on the European model. It's going to be really close here. Advisory criteria, bringing it down just to the northern suburbs of the city here, parts of Long Island. And look at this. Southern New Jersey barely getting anything. Northern New Jersey getting warning criteria. That's going to be really interesting here as we draw closer to the storm. All right, so total national and North American snowfall here. Look at this. Take it through Monday. There's our big storm into the northeast. This is the European model, by the way. Look at the four corners, the west, the Rockies picking up. Canada, look it up here, is picking up a lot of snow as well. That is quite, look at that. We're just going to continue to pile on. The system on the weekend isn't going to bring up too much here into eastern Canada, but watch this. Look at the next weekend storm and the following one after that. This is fun to take a look at these. Look at that. Look at all that snowfall piling up here from the plains. Oh, look at the Rockies out here into eastern Canada. Now, as we get to the next storm here, look at this is the European model. We'll go to back to the GFS momentarily. Look at this storm. This is by the 8th at 10 p.m. Look what's going on here Monday. This is going to be a very concerning severe weather outbreak. This system is going to tap into a lot more tropical moisture than the weekend storm did. I'm very concerned because look how fast this one's intensifying. It took all the way to the coastline for this other system, our weekend system, to start intensifying. But look at this. Panhandle of Florida, Alabama, Georgia. These areas, I'm really concerned about tornado threats in these areas, damaging wind. I think it's going to be a widespread severe weather outbreak here. And I know some of the National Weather Service offices are very concerned, especially the Tallahassee one, around this region. And look at that. That's by 1 p.m. So let's look at the timestamps here. This is 4 a.m. This is going to be happening in the middle of the night. So as we get towards Monday night and Tuesday morning, look at that. So there's going to be some cold air on the northern side of this, another 1032 millibar high to the north. Look how fast that severe weather spreads across Florida as we head on into your Tuesday here. Tuesday the 9th. You can see we're just continuing to push this storm to the north. It looks like it's going to take an Ohio Valley track here. You can see up through the Great Lakes. So initially we would see snow on the east side of this and then quickly changing to rain, maybe thunderstorms all the way up into New Jersey and the Hudson Valley as we get into overnight Tuesday night into next Wednesday. So this is going to contain a tremendous amount of wind. This system has a lot more dynamics with it. You do know on the backside of this system is probably where we're going to see blizzard-like conditions. So that's something we need to keep a very close eye on here as this storm draws near as well. And that one moves into Quebec, Canada, is going to be getting pummeled by this as we head throughout the rest of your middle to latter portion of next week. And then look at this, another storm with potential severe weather, showers and thunderstorms, another blizzard potential on the backside of this system as we head on into the 12th and the 13th. Look at that. Another cold front moving through. We're just going to continue to line these low pressure systems up as they come out of the Colorado area. You can see this one is actually by the 14th, so we're getting into next weekend, the last couple frames here. Now, if you want to take this next storm here on the GFS, we're comparing this to the European model. Here it is. This is the concern we have here. Look how fast this is going to be moving. This has got a lot of dynamics. Potential blizzard on the backside coming through Oklahoma City on the 9th, Tuesday morning. It's possible, but the big story initially is going to be this severe weather moving through parts of the deep south. Now, you do start to see where the heaviest snow, look at that, maybe just east of Dallas, northwest of Little Rock, and then look at here on the northern fringe, we'll initially see snowfall. But that's severe weather from Alabama, the panhandle of Florida. Look how fast this one's moving too. So you get that sense that here into the northeast, you're going to see that quick changeover to rain as this surge of 40 and 50 degree air makes it up into the region. A 982 millibar low, you know, on the backside of this system, that is going to be a raging blizzard. Even up here into parts of Ontario and Quebec, you're going to see some intense, hefty snowfall rates, and even here into northern New England. Now, look at this. there may be a squall line all the way up into the Hudson Valley into parts of New England. This is 4 a.m. on next Wednesday, the 10th. So this system's going to be a big wind blaster as well. It's going to head up into the Canadian Maritimes, and look what happens behind it. Come next weekend, Friday into Saturday, look what we got again. This one's going a little bit further to the north, pushes all the heaviest snow, maybe starting out as snow here into the northeast, transitioning to a mix, and eventually rain. And look at that, it does try to form some sort of low pressure in the spine of the Appalachians. As we get into the tropical update here, I didn't want to leave Central America, the Caribbean out here, Mexico, the rest of the beautiful countries down here in the islands. Look at this. So as we head through the rest of your week, the only thing I see really causing some problems, I do see, as we get into the 6th and 7th here towards, the weekend, some showers here across the Cayman Islands, parts of Jamaica, and maybe this cold front actually pushing southward here from our coastal low in New England. So that will kind of wash out. We'll see the next system developing. But look at this. For the most part, with the exception, maybe a little bit of a light tropical wave here, but nothing really to write home about. Look how nice it is down here until we get to about the 10th. This is right around, say, the middle of next week, right around Wednesday. So we start to see some shower and thunderstorm activity on the tail end of this frontal boundary. We do start to see more cloudiness here developing here in the Caribbean as well, as we get a few more tropical waves trying to kick in here. Showers across Jamaica, parts of Hispaniola here, towards the Cayman Islands, and eventually the Eastern Gulf. So we do have some tropical connections kicking in here. This is going to be what's going to be so different about this winter across the Caribbean is these systems are going to ride a little bit further to the south because the subtropical jet is so active here during an El Nino winter. So we're going to see some of that moisture feed up into the eastern Gulf of Mexico. And as you can see, we go in time, the Bahamas really getting on the act as well. Look at this, the northern Bahamas by the 13th. So as we get towards the middle of the month, things do start to become a little more inclement here and a little more cloud cover. You can see the Lesser Antilles over here. We do have a little wave moving through. So your rainfall here across the Caribbean, look at this. So yeah, as we head through the weekend, maybe 10 millimeters or less here. Less than 1/10 of an inch. As we continue in time here, look at this next week. Most of the rainfall will be up here into the northern Bahamas, where you get upwards of 40, 60 millimeters, about 1.5 inches, 2 inches. Then we get a little tropical wave here from the Jamaica area. That's where we're going to start to see some rainfall amounts kicking in here on the order of about 40, 50 millimeters. That'll probably bring us up towards the 1 to 1.5 inch range. All right, so as we get into the rainfall totals here in the Eastern Caribbean, we don't have a whole lot to talk about. Puerto Rico and Haiti will probably be seeing in Dominican Republic about 10 to 20 millimeters. As we get into next week, the Bahamas, the northern and central Bahamas will really see the lion's share of the rainfall, upwards of 90 to 100 millimeters, 3 to 4 inches. Even the Lesser Antilles here as we get into the middle to latter part of next week. Look what we got going on here, possibly upwards of 60 millimeters. That'll bring us close to 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. And don't go anywhere. I just have more weather here in just a moment. Check out my affiliate here, these awesome maps. Have a look at this.
I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code.
All right, so let's take a look at those temperature forecasts here. This is what we got going on. So this is going to be really interesting as we continue to go on time for our temperatures here across the northern part of the country and then into parts of northern New England. Now, there's going to be a surge of warm air here on the eastern side of the system, but watch this. I know this does look marginally cold for snow, but interior sections, that's where that 32, 31, 30, it's going to be a heavy wet snow that's going to be occurring here. And as we get into Sunday here, look at this. I know it still looks marginal for snowfall accumulations up here into the northeast, but I do think the storm will manufacture a lot of its own cold air. So those areas that are seeing the heaviest snowfall will likely see colder temperatures as that colder air is cooled from the upper layer, that column of air, all the way down to the surface. Now look what's happening out here into the plains and the Rocky Mountains. You see this blast of cold air Sunday and into Monday. That actually pushes south and eastward here with that blizzard that we're going to see potentially on the northwest side of the system. But look at the surge of warm air here into the Ohio Valley, 46 degrees, 50s all the way up on the west side of the Appalachians, all the way into the northeast, 40s as we erode that cold air. And look at up and down the eastern seaboard here, 50s, and then all the way down to the 70s here in South Florida. Look at Texas even warming up here, but look what's forming. These are single-digit temperatures up here in the Dakotas. As we get into Wednesday, look what starts to happen. This is really going to start to try to make a push to the south and to the east. Extended outlook for hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. Take a look at this Friday. Yeah, that's deceiving. Sunny skies into the mid-30s, but watch this. It will be a cold start, by the way, down to the mid-teens. So on your way to work or school, that's going to be freezing. But look at this Saturday. The snow moves in just afternoon, right around 1 p.m. We will be making it early up towards the mid-30s, but that column of air will cool. It will fall through the 20s into the upper 20s into Saturday night. This is where, so Saturday, we could see about up to 3 inches with an additional potential for 3 to 6 inches Saturday night into Sunday with additional accumulation. So our total snowfall accumulation here out of this will likely be about 7 to 11 inches of snow. And then that pulls away Sunday night and Monday into Tuesday. The next storm is likely to start as snow, but transition to rain and be extremely windy. As always, I want to thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also at Weather Northeastern, also at Hurricane Northeastern, and also at Susquehanna Weather. Also Twitter at Weather Eastern, and you can visit me at MeteoMark.com. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to check out my winter weather outlook for 2023-24, and link in the description down below, as well as my affiliate, Trilogy Maps.